Okay, it's time for a little update on the motorcycle project, the Italeri WLA 750 Harley. Again, this is the military bike, but I'm building it as a civilian bike. Um, so we're going to leave off a bunch of the saddlebags and stuff. I just want to do the essential early 40s Harley Davidson street bike. So that's what we're after here. Um, the kit has several detail, not options, I guess, aspects. So it has front suspension with proper spring loading. The seat is softail or suspended with the spring-loaded seat post. And sorry, did I say softail? I think this is not what that means, but anyway, this is our current status of the bike. I just mounted the rear fender. We have the fender skirts in. I did paint the silver trim. Yeah, it turned out okay. It could be better, it could be worse. Okay. Let's see. So next steps. I'll have to pull off take the exhaust parts and get those painted chrome. There's a whole lot of cabling and hoses that need to be attached to the bike on both sides of the motorcycle. The hand grips and handlebar details need to be added along with the brake and clutch line. This motorcycle had the stick shift, so the shift hardware will have to be mounted to the side of the tank. All of the foot pedals still need to be attached, and so there's still a ton of, and again, it's all fine parts, small parts, detail parts, kind of a piece at a time. In the assembly and painting process of this bike, I think I talked about it on a previous recording, a previous recording where, I talk about how, because of the small parts and the interconnectivity of everything, the bike has to be done in small chunks, very little pieces, painted up at each phase of the build, and applied to the kit as we go, so as not to get ahead of ourselves and possibly get painted into a corner. So slow and steady work, but I think we're going to end up with a decent representation of a Harley street bike from that era. I've added the trim tape onto the tank here, so the chrome strip is here. Also, there's a chrome strip down the center line of the tank over the top. There is a decal for the speedometer here. Really, that's probably the only decal out of the set I'll be able to use. Everything else is military. So here's the sheet that comes with it. Again, most of the decals are white. The bike is an Army rendition, so it's overall OD green, and so the white decals show up nicely on that, I guess. As you can see, the speedometer there pretty much in the middle of the picture. That's the only decal on here I think that I can use. I would have liked to have the Harley emblem that goes on the side of the tank here, but that was left off of the military bikes. Just unnecessary for that application, so we'll miss that. But I think also the headlight or the fender lights are different. The military fender lights are of a military type. So I'll probably either modify or just omit those altogether. I have to look at them a little more extensively and see what I can do, what I might do with those. I might still touch up some of the chrome on the fenders here. I'm not real pleased with that, so we might go back and forth. The problem is you start tail chasing and coming in with the chrome and trying to get a straight line, and then failing that, you have to come back with the blue, and then you try to touch up the blue next to the chrome, and you can end up chasing your tail and making things look worse rather than better. with more and more applications of paint. So I'm trying to avoid that situation. So I'm just still looking at it. There are a few places I might be able to, I might try one more round of that, but I don't want to go any further than one more round. We've been at that 2 or 3 times here already, and that's on both sides of front and rear fender, trying to get that to look cleaner. But it looks as good as it can for now. Might end up just letting that go. There's a ton of detail on the bike, lots of stuff to look at. But that is pretty large and pretty visible section. You see, it's not horrible. It's not terrible. It's not awful. It's just, it is what it is. Look at the flip side of the bike. I mounted the kickstand on there so the fenders could set up and dry properly. Cutting these skirts was difficult. Trying to get the right shape to them, and I feel like I probably got this a little too thick at the top. This probably should have followed a slightly different line here. But they're installed, and they don't look terrible. At least to me, I think they look okay. So we're gonna go with it. Too late to change it now. So, but if I were to do the kit again, I think I'd spend a little bit, even more time trying to get that right. And now that I have an example of how that looks, it's kind of hard to tell too how far in these are going to set. Even in the test fit application, you're test fitting them, holding the wheel, inside of the fender to try and see what that looks like, and trying to get that positioned in the right place. Off of the bike, it's a little difficult. So it looked a little better in the initial mock-up phase than it does now. It's just a little bit long here, but it's okay. I'm all right with it. I think the fender skirts tended to be one of the things that would be replaced or altered over time on these bikes, and might have been cut differently to taste for each owner too. I think sure, you want to keep everything as stock and original as you can, but I think there might have been some leeway on that. But this is my project, so these are my fender skirts. If you want to build the bike and do a civilian version and go for that yourself, then I highly recommend it. The kit's beautiful. The parts are, you can see how well molded these parts are, and so it's worth the effort, I think, if you're into this sort of thing. It's good to experience a few different manufacturers in the plastic modeling kit realm if you're into building model kits. I think I recommended the Tamiya motorcycles, even for people who aren't really motorcycle enthusiasts but are scale model enthusiasts. So if you're into these kits and the engineering of them and so forth, you can't go wrong with the Tamiya motorcycle 1/12 scale. They're just amazing works of engineering and technical ability with regard to how the parts are molded and how the kits are designed and engineered to go together. They go together just wildly, insanely good. Right, so the WLA 750 Italeri motorcycle is, do I have the top? Well, anyway, I think, or you'll know you all know the kit. It's in video 1 or video 2 of this series. I have the box top. All right, so I hope everybody's having a good holiday. Stay safe, right? And carry on. We'll see you next time.